Hi, this is Sandy Klucas, and this is my presentation over data sources in our fifth grade classroom and our district. I really like this infographic I found from the data quality campaign. It talks about the reasons that we need good quality data and that we need to have it on our radar and be thinking about it, keeping track of it. For our students, they need to know their strengths, where they need to grow. Parents need to know how to help their children, and teachers, we need to know where to help our children too. So there's a few different types of data. There's demographics, which I know a lot of times teachers don't think about, but it's important. Student learning, we look at that a lot. And then my school and classroom processes, it's important that I have some data over that. And the perceptions of my students, of their parents and their families, of our community members. So when I think about demographics and where we get our data, our district receives much of our demographic information from enrollment questionnaires. These give us, of course, age, race, marital status, employment, household income, all that kind of information about our families. We get some demographic information from the free and reduced lunch program run by the USDA. And this is important for me to know if I have students who may be struggling just with getting the necessities for school. And then we also use our county appraiser records to find out where our students live, who they're living with, that sort of thing. At Data Central on the KSDE website, I found this for our district. We have about 45% females and about 55% males in our school, our elementary school. Student learning data, this one is really important in the classroom, and this is where I think most of us, when we think of data, we think of student learning data. We use iReady, which is an online program for both our reading and math data. This gives our students lessons and mini formative assessments throughout the school year. They also take summative assessments on iReady in the fall, the winter, and the spring. We also use the Kansas Assessment Program. That gives us math, science, ELA, and social studies assessments. They're also taken online, and those results are percentile ranked for the state of Kansas. Our 3rd through 10th grade students take the KAP assessments over math and reading every year. 5th graders will take a science assessment as well. And then starting this year, we're also going to have a social study assessment for our 5th graders that is performance-based over 9 weeks and is teacher graded. So it'll be something like a project. So all of these things are what are going to give me my baseline assessment scores for my whole class and for my focus students for the PPAT. We also administer reading assessments at the beginning of the school year. Any students who do not test at grade level are given an oral reading fluency assessment. If they don't pass that, they're given a phonics screener. And if they don't pass the phonics screener, they are given the phonemic assessment skills test to see what kind of skills they're lacking, where there might be gaps. We use EduClimber to track individual student assessment scores. This is something else I can use for those baseline scores for the PPAT. These allow us to monitor student progress, and we can adjust our instruction and plan interventions with that information. So when I looked on the KSDE website, I found this math information. You can look at this is our elementary school. I believe this is 5th grade. And you can see the different level. Level 1 indicates a student shows limited ability to understand, all the way up to level 4, a student who shows an excellent ability to understand. And that shows you where our students are scoring on those math assessments. The KSDA website also has it has tons of information. All this different information about graduation rates, participation, school outcomes, higher education. One thing I thought was interesting, and we are a very small district. We have about 730 students in our whole district. But when I look at the dropout rates in 2019, it was 0.3%. 2020, it was 0.6%. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but to me, that's a couple of students there, a couple of kids that I know. that dropped out, twice as many in 2020 as in 2019. And that worries me and that saddens me. And it's something I think that we need to be looking at. It doubled. So just something to think about. When I think about data from my school classroom processes, it's really important that I evaluate my processes. And this is something I'm learning as a student teacher. And I am so lucky to have a cooperating teacher who is just really super organized and has her routines all just fine-tuned. But so things like our classroom routines, my instructional methods, my classroom management strategies, those are all things that I need to constantly be monitoring and adjusting to the needs of my students. And this can be difficult to measure, partly because there are so many different processes being used throughout the day. But IEPs and 504 plans also give guidelines for students with our students with special needs. So these are all things that I need to be thinking about and looking at and seeing if they're working. PLC meetings, notes from those can provide some information about these processes as well. And then perceptions. This is something else that's hard to measure, but it's important to understand. I use a morning check-in form with my students on our Google Classroom, and I ask students about their learning experience, if they have any questions, if they need any help, how they're feeling, if there's anything they want to tell me. And I think that helps me understand their perceptions. I try to help parents gain a better perspective of what we're doing by sending home a newsletter regularly and notes about activities. I fill out an agenda every day, the kids fill out, and we'll send notes back and forth, or I will send notes back and forth with parents, me and my cooperating teacher, just so that we keep parents in the loop and they know what's going on. So anyway, that was my presentation. Thank you for listening. Bye. Do I stop this one?